then please do me a favor, put your hands together and welcome to the stage. Give it up for Michael Trucco! What's happening, man? I know you get to walk out like a wrestler. It's fantastic.
Hi, everybody. Yeah. Where do you want me?
You just have a seat.
Is it a COVID thing? Do we have to do
No. You can sit as close as you want. I just, we had a random couch and a random chair. They don't match, but it's better than the steel drums we sat on last year.
Get my accoutrement out.
So you shared something with me backstage that I did not know, but you have been here in South Africa for a bit.
I have been in Cape Town since the 22nd of January. I live here now. No, that's not true. But it feels like I do. I've been here for 4 months. We're shooting a series called Average Joe. We're making season 2, and we're about to finish up next weekend. And then this came along, and the timing could not have been better.
That's absolutely fantastic. So what's going on? Are you allowed to share what's going on in the story? Why are you in Cape Town with the show?
Nope.
All right, perfect, wonderful.
I can give you the, yes. So what's unique about it is that the story has taken us, the characters, to Cape Town.
Okay.
So we were able to shoot Cape Town for Cape Town. In other words, oftentimes in a show you shoot in a location and then you pretend that it's New York, or you pretend that you're in San Francisco, and you have to change the license plates and you have to change the set dressing. The characters in the show find themselves on a plane to Cape Town, South Africa. So we're able to use this incredible, beautiful city, and we shot at the top of Table Mountain, and we shot in Hout Bay, and we're in all these incredible locations like Stellenbosch. So we're actually shooting Cape Town for Cape Town, and that's really special for us because we have an extraordinary guest cast of all local Cape Town and Johannesburg actors. So, yeah.
That's fantastic.
Flavor. And they're amazing.
Well, you've had quite the storied career. You've done all sorts of stuff. How does it all start?
How does it all start? A kid with a dream. It starts on a high school stage, starting off doing a play and thinking that maybe one day this could be a thing. I grew up in a little town called San Mateo in California where acting was not even, it wasn't even an issue. It wasn't even something that presented itself to me. I was the son of a cop. My dad's a cop. And I thought that I was going to go into law enforcement. And that was what I was going to do. I mean, if your father makes shoes and you end up becoming a cobbler, that's what you do. So I don't know how or where, but some point in my studies in university, I auditioned for a play. And then they convinced me to come and study with the theater department. I changed my major from criminal justice to theater arts. My parents wanted to kick me out of their lives. And then flash forward to moving to Los Angeles and just grinding it out, man. I did background work, I did extra work, I did under 5, one line, more butter, sir? Like just anything I could get my hands on to be on a set. And just one job led to the next, led to the next, led to the next.
That's
and now
awesome.
I'm sitting here with you.
Well, and so here's my favorite question to ask actors. What gig is the one that got you your SAG-AFTRA card? Like, when did you become part of the union?
I got my SAG card on a Molson beer commercial. It's not glamorous. It wasn't even an American beer commercial. It was for a Canadian beer. And my first spoken line on camera was for a Canadian beer, Molson beer commercial. And I thought, I mean, I was in heaven. I got to set and somebody tied my shoes for me. I'd never been treated, I'd never experienced, I came from the theater where you build your own costumes, you set your own props, you build your own sets. Suddenly I'm on this set and people they're dressing me, they're tying my shoes, they're bringing me a bottle of water. I was like, I just made it. And it was a commercial for beer. It wasn't that spectacular.
Yeah, until you start seeing the residual checks, and then you feel a little better about yourself.
Back in those days, they were good. Yeah, yeah.
So you've done a lot of guest appearances on a lot of TV shows. Do you have one that sticks out as a favorite?
Oh man, I think if you're going back to when it all kind of shifted for me, I would say Beverly Hills 90210. I think that's the first time, I mean, come on. Because first of all, I was a fan. Every girl I'd ever dated up until that point, that was required reading. You had to watch Beverly Hills 90210. And now, flash forward to, I'm on set with Tori Spelling and Brian Austin Green and Ian Ziering. And that that was the transformation for me, to be sitting on a set with people that I was watching on television for years, and now I'm working with them. And when we would take a lunch break, I was in my little room in the hallway, and directly across the hallway from me is Tori Spelling, and she goes, "Hey, Michael, do you want to come over and have lunch over here with me? Some of the gang's coming down." And I was like, I just got invited to lunch with Tori Spelling. That was for me that was the first time I think I felt like I was in the club.
So almost a moment where you stopped feeling like an imposter and felt like, hey, maybe this is really my job?
No, you never stop feeling like you're an imposter. At least I don't. I swear to God, there's still, no matter how often you do this, your agent calls and said, "Hey, you booked that job." And the first thought is, I think they meant the other guy. Or I'm going to get there and they're going to go, oh, we're so sorry. Not you. We must have got the pictures mixed up. No, I think that insecurity is always sort of lurking in the background. I don't know if it ever goes away, and I hope it doesn't. It keeps you hungry.
How do you find your characters?
Ooh. Wow, that's such a good question. I was just talking to somebody about this. Everybody has a different process. I wouldn't say that I go method, but I definitely go into deep imagination. And so for me, that means the first thing I have to do is understand who I am. And if I was going to ask you, what was the name of your primary school or your high school? What was the color of your first car? You wouldn't even stop to think about it. You just know that. That's intrinsic to who you are. So for me, it's important that I start with my name. I literally find out what my first and last name in this movie or in this television series is, and I backpedal from there. I discover a world. Who are my parents? What were my parents' names? Do I have sisters? Do I have brothers? Am I a single child? So I just try to build a world that feels real and organic, and 99% of those things don't end up on the screen. You know, I never talk about my brother in the show, but it builds a world that makes it real for me. And I don't know what that school of thought is. I studied with a teacher that said, you just use your imagination. If you ask a child, a 5 or 6-year-old child, to sit in a sandbox and you put some stuffed animals around and say, hey, these are your friends and you're having a tea party, that little boy, that little girl will start pouring tea, and they play. They create this world, this imagination. And that's a beautiful thing, and we lose that as adults. We become inhibited. So I find it imperative to use your imagination, create circumstances that are unrealistic for Michael Trucco, but they're entirely realistic for the character that I'm playing. And then just walk in those shoes. I mean, I always say, I wear other people's pants for a living. I put on other people's clothes for a living. They bring me clothes, you put them on, and you dress up like somebody, and you go out there and you play.
So how do you make that transition in your head with creating those characters when you're moving from, you know, what's more traditional to science fiction?
Yeah, boy, that's a good question too. You just have to, there's a switch, you just have to turn on and turn off, and some people are better at it than others. I often require a lot of time to wind down, particularly in really intense dramatic roles or anything that's very emotional. You have to get yourself to a state of an emotional state, and then when it's done, I can't just turn it off. I have to sort of decompress. But you learn to compartmentalize, because at the end of the day, it's make-believe. You don't take anything home with you. Whatever you do on set and whatever you do on screen and in front of the camera, it stays there. And then you go home and you pet your dog and you know, make yourself breakfast in the morning and you go about your routine.
You kind of found that compartmentalization from Dad, because he definitely would have had to compartmentalize in his job as a police officer.
100%. I think that, wow, you know what? That's a really good observation, man. I don't think anybody's ever said that to me. Holy shit, I just learned something. I'm in therapy right now in front of 400 people. You know what? You're exactly right. My father, as a cop, absolutely compartmentalized his job and what he saw. And, you know, he didn't bring it home to my mother. He didn't bring it to my sister and I. And he saw some horrible things. You see terrible things when you're in law enforcement. And you're right. Yeah, he had the ability to shut those emotions off. Holy shit. I'm blown away. I'm going to stop paying my therapist.
That was just something, you know, you definitely, you know, if you know, it's hard when you have parents that aren't in the arts.
Yes.
You know, and I'm sure you're right. At the beginning, it was like, you're going to do what? And then
That's right.
Was there a point when they realized that, oh, you're going to be okay?
Yes, yes. And to that point, they weren't in the arts. Nobody in my extended family was in music or film or television. But I had the support of my parents. And from day one, whether or not they showed me, they were behind me. And there may have been times when they're like, what the fuck is he doing? And they never showed me that. But I had the support of my parents, which is super important, because they gave me the belief, if you want something, and if you really want to do this, then do it. But don't do it half-assed. Do it. Commit to it. And it's not an easy, I mean, you tell your parents and you're in university that you're going to study theater. You know, what the hell are you going to do with theater? There's not a lot of avenues. It's going to teach theater, you're going to do local theater, or you're going to try to make a run at becoming an actor, or a director, or a writer, or whatever that may be. None of which are easy things to do. But my parents' support was everything. It was everything. I attribute the reason I'm sitting on a stage and the reason I get to have the career I have is because my parents believed in me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you talked about compartmentalizing with your characters. Has there been a character that's been really hard to turn off or get rid of?
Yeah, there's been two instances. Actually, what we're doing right now in this show called Average Joe, I get to play a very complex character that has a lot of issues. Drug addiction and psychological issues. And there are days, one of our directors is backstage, he's here somewhere, he knows that there have been some dark days on set where I did not want to go back to shooting those scenes because of the inability to separate myself. And then there was one, this is horrible, but this show called Law and Order SVU. And I played a serial rapist. And that's not a great character to play. And that's a horrible thing to have to go on set and pretend that you're this rapist. And we had to shoot these scenes with these young girls, young women. They find this cache of videos on my computer, the character's computer, that he videotapes these women that he rapes. So we had to shoot those scenes. In some way, you know, in a television version. But that meant 3 or 4 or 5 different women. We would have to figure out different ways that I was, you know, grabbing their hair or throwing them on. It was one of the worst, most horrible experiences because it felt so violating. But in order to present that character in the most vile way, it had to be authentic. And I hated it. And I would apologize profusely. We'd finish the scene. I was like, I'm so sorry. This is not me. They're like, no, it's great. It's fine. It's okay. And I was like, no, it's not okay. So that was a really weird character to play. And a lot of people still come up to me and they're like, man, you're such an asshole. I was like, okay, thank you. I must have pulled it off.
Well, we've run out of time for
I know,
today.
it's fast.
It went really fast. There's an opportunity for everybody to come upstairs, second floor. You're doing photos and autographs today.
Yes.
You're going to come back tomorrow.
Yes.
I hear you might bring something with you tomorrow.
Yeah. I'm going to bring a little audio visual to show on the screen tomorrow.
Fantastic. So do me a favor, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together.
Thank you guys so much.
For Michael
Thanks for listening.
Trucco.
You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for listening.